Luxury brands don't just sell products, they sell meaning. Think about it. A $10 t-shirt covers your body just as well as a $500 designer one. A basic watch tells time just as accurately as a Rolex. So why do people spend exponentially more for luxury? The answer isn't about utility, it's about psychology. Today we're diving into the hidden forces that make luxury brands so powerful, why they feel irresistible, how they shape identity, and why people will go to extraordinary lengths to own them. Let's start with one of the core ideas behind luxury: signaling. Humans are social creatures. Whether we realize it or not, we constantly communicate status, taste, and identity through what we wear and own. Luxury brands act as high-powered signals. When someone carries a Hermes Birkin bag or drives a Bentley, they're not just using an object, they're sending a message. That message might be wealth, success, exclusivity, or even cultural sophistication. This concept is rooted in something called costly signaling theory. The idea is simple. The more expensive or difficult something is to obtain, the more credible the signal becomes. Anyone can buy a cheap knockoff, but not everyone can afford the real thing. So luxury brands thrive because they make their products intentionally hard to access. High prices aren't a flaw, they're the point. But status alone isn't enough. There's also the emotional layer. Luxury brands are masters of storytelling. They don't just tell you what a product is, they tell you what it represents. Take a brand like Chanel. It doesn't just sell clothing or perfume, it sells an image of timeless elegance, independence, and Parisian sophistication. When someone buys Chanel, they're buying into that identity. This is called symbolic consumption, using products to construct and express who you are or who you want to be. In fact, many luxury purchases are less about impressing others and more about reinforcing a personal narrative. Someone might buy a luxury watch not to show off, but because it makes them feel successful, disciplined, or refined. That emotional payoff is incredibly powerful. Another key factor is scarcity. Luxury brands carefully control how many products they release and who gets access to them. This creates what psychologists call the scarcity effect, the idea that people assign more value to things that are rare or hard to obtain. Think about limited edition sneakers, invite-only fashion shows, or wait lists for certain handbags that stretch for months or even years. The waiting itself becomes part of the appeal. When you finally get the product, it feels like an achievement. You didn't just buy it, you earned it. And luxury brands amplify this by being deliberately selective. Some stores won't even let you purchase certain items unless you've already built a relationship with the brand. This creates a sense of exclusivity that's hard to replicate. Now let's talk about pricing psychology, because luxury pricing works very differently from normal pricing. In most markets, lower prices attract more customers. But in luxury, higher prices can actually increase demand. This is known as the Veblen effect, when a product becomes more desirable because it's expensive. Why does this happen? Because price itself becomes a signal of quality and status. If something is extremely expensive, people assume it must be special, rare, or superior in some way. Luxury brands understand this and often price their products far above production cost. The goal isn't just profit, it's perception. If a luxury brand suddenly lowered its prices, it could actually damage its image. People might start questioning its exclusivity or prestige. So maintaining high prices is essential to maintaining the brand's identity. But here's where it gets even more interesting. Luxury brands don't just sell to the ultra-wealthy. A large portion of luxury consumers are actually middle-income buyers who make occasional high-end purchases. This is sometimes called the aspirational consumer. These buyers might not be able to afford luxury all the time, but they're willing to save up for specific items like a designer handbag, a pair of premium sneakers, or a luxury fragrance. For them, the purchase is deeply emotional. It can represent a milestone, a reward, or a step toward the life they aspire to. Luxury brands intentionally cater to this group by offering entry-level products like perfume, sunglasses, or small accessories that are more accessible but still carry the brand's prestige. This creates a ladder of luxury where people can gradually buy into the brand. Now let's shift to something more subtle: the role of identity and belonging. At first glance, luxury seems like it's about standing out. But in many cases, it's also about fitting in, specifically fitting into a desired group. Owning certain brands can signal membership in a particular social circle, profession, or lifestyle. For example, wearing a tailored suit from a high-end brand might signal that you belong in corporate or elite professional environments. Wearing certain streetwear brands might signal connection to a specific cultural or creative community. Luxury, in this sense, is about both differentiation and affiliation. You're standing out from the general population, but also aligning yourself with a specific group. And brands reinforce this through their marketing. They carefully choose ambassadors, models, and influencers who embody the lifestyle they want to project. When you see those images, you're not just seeing a product, you're seeing a version of life that you might want to step into. This is where aspiration comes in again. Luxury brands sell a future version of you, not who you are today, but who you could become. And that's a powerful motivator. Another psychological driver is something called the halo effect. When a brand is perceived as excellent in one area, people tend to assume it's excellent in others. For example, if a luxury fashion house is known for high-quality craftsmanship, consumers might assume its fragrances or accessories are equally exceptional, even if they've never used them before. This allows luxury brands to expand into new categories while maintaining their prestige. It also explains why branding is so important. The logo, the packaging, the store design, all of it contributes to the overall perception. Every detail reinforces the idea that this brand is special. Now let's talk about experience. Luxury isn't just about the product, it's about how you feel when you interact with the brand. From the moment you walk into a high-end store, everything is designed to create a specific emotional experience. The lighting, the music, the spacing between products, even how the staff interact with you, it's all intentional. You're not rushed, you're not pressured, you're made to feel important. This taps into a basic human desire to feel valued, and that feeling becomes part of the product itself. In fact, many luxury purchases are driven as much by the buying experience as by the item being purchased. Online, brands try to replicate this through sleek websites, premium packaging, and personalized communication. Because in luxury, the journey matters just as much as the destination. Finally, there's the idea of permanence and legacy. Luxury brands often emphasize heritage, decades, or even centuries of history. This creates a sense of trust and continuity. When someone buys from a brand that's been around for 100 years, it feels like they're buying into something enduring. This is especially important for products like watches, jewelry, or leather goods, which are often positioned as investments or heirlooms. Owning these items can feel like being part of a story that extends beyond your own lifetime, and that adds another layer of meaning. So when you put all of this together, status signaling, emotional storytelling, scarcity, pricing psychology, identity, experience, and legacy, you start to see the full picture. Luxury brands aren't just selling products, they're selling identity, they're selling emotion, they're selling a carefully constructed perception of value that goes far beyond the physical object. And the reason it works so well is because it taps into fundamental aspects of human psychology, our need for status, belonging, meaning, and self-expression. Once you understand that, luxury stops looking irrational. It starts looking incredibly strategic.